I'm Olivia and welcome back to my channel.
Won't stop the beat and go.
So in today's video we're going to be making this super easy beginner friendly crochet sweater vest. So if you want to see how it was made, stick around till the end.
So what you'll need is 6 balls of mohair and then 6 balls of this cotton. I'm using the brand Moya and it's double knit, made in South Africa, and I'm using the color blush. And then here's just the details that you need to know. So to get started, I'm going to take a strand of mohair along with a strand of cotton, and we are going to make a slip knot. And then I also forgot to mention that you will need a 5mm crochet hook. I'm using 5.5, 5.5, 6, 5. It's your choice. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start with the chain. We're going to chain 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then we're going to chain 2. We're going to go 1, 2. And we're going to go into that 10th chain with a half double crochet. So that's yarn around your needle, through the stitch, catch the yarn on the other side, pull it through, catch the yarn and pull through all 3 loops. Let me show you again. Yarn around your needle, through the stitch, catch the yarn, pull it through, then catch the yarn again, pull through all 3 loops. Yarn around, through, catch again and pull it through, then yarn around and pull through all 3 loops. So we're going to do this until we get to the other side. So what you're going to do once we've half double crochet to the other side is we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, flip your work around, and we're going to go into the back loop of each stitch. So I don't know if you can see the 2 V's that you usually go into. There's one, that's the other one. You go through the back loop. And we're doing this to create the ribbing. So you can see the 2 V stitches there. That's one, that's the other one. You can see my needles through both of them. But we're going through that back one. I don't know if you can see properly. And then you just go through the back stitch with a half double crochet. We're gonna half double crochet to the other side. So now we are in that end stitch and we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, flip your work around, and we're going to go into the first stitch there, but in the back loop of the stitch. So I don't know if you can notice, but for both rows that we have done, we are half double crocheting in the back loop of every stitch, and we are going to be doing this for 29 rows, but yours may differ. If you want yours to be wider, your sweater vest to be wider, you'll just do more rows of this pattern. And if you want it to be smaller, you just make less rows. So I'll meet you once I've made 30 rows. So we have done 29 rows of half double crocheting in the back loop. And what you're going to do is chain 2. I've already chained 1. And then we're going to make a double crochet in all the gaps. So what I recommend doing is trying to get a half double crochet on either side of the rib here. You can see that's where we went into the back loop. So I've got 1 there, 1 there, 1 there. and we are aiming for 50 stitches, or 50 double crochets. I know this is maybe the hardest row because there aren't defined stitches, like you kind of just have to make them up. But yeah, to try get 50 stitches in, that would be the goal for the ratio that I'm using. So for if you did 29 rows, you try get 50 stitches in. So try get 20 or 19 stitches more than what you have done on the rows. And the same should apply if you're doing a bigger pattern or a bigger jersey or a smaller jersey. So I'll meet you once I've worked my way to the other side. So we have got our 50 stitches. You can see 50 double crochets. You're gonna chain 2, flip your work around, and then we're gonna make a double crochet in every single stitch. So you can see we've got that gap there. You just go through the whole gap and then you make your double crochet. So now we're gonna do this, and we are going to continue double crocheting in every stitch for 9 rows. So I'll meet you at the end of 9 rows. So we've done 9 rows, and I've marked off 7 stitches from either side of the end here, and I've also done the other panel off camera, and I've done the same thing, marked off 7 stitches from either end. So now I've cut off the yarn, and we're gonna fasten it off like so, and then I'm gonna flip my work around, and we're gonna start working from that stitch marker in that 7th stitch from the end. So I'm gonna make a slip knot, and what we're gonna do, and just take the slip knot out, we're gonna chain 2. So this is row 10, and we are starting at 7 rows from the end. I've just taken the stitch marker out, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna decrease. We're gonna go 1, 2, catch, and you can see we have 3 loops now. Go through 2 loops and go through the next 2 loops. And then we're gonna continue double crocheting in every stitch until we get to that stitch marker. Okay, so now we have crocheted all the way from there, and we are here at the other stitch marker. So now, because we decreased 2 stitches in on this side, we've got to decrease 2 stitches from the stitch marker on this side. I hope that makes sense. Then we make a double crochet like that, and then we're going to chain 2, flip your work around, and we're going to start. So now we're starting row 12, and we are going to decrease into that first stitch there, 1, 2, and the first and second stitches, and we got 3 loops on our hook. Then catch the yarn, pull through 2 loops, catch the yarn, pull through 2 loops again. Now we crochet in every stitch until the other side, where I'll meet you to do another decrease. So we're at the last 2 gaps that we can work into, so we're going to make a decrease, 1, 2, and we're going to chain 2, and we're going to start row 13, and we're going to start with a decrease. So catch the yarn through the first 2 stitches and then finish off your double crochet. Then we're going to do this for 4 rows. So I'll meet you once we have decreased at the beginning and end of each row. So we are coming to the end of that 4th row of decreasing. So this, I think, is row 13, because 9 plus 4 is 13, so yeah, row 13. And we're just gonna make that last decrease, and now we're gonna chain 2, and we are no longer gonna decrease, we are gonna work straight up. So I'll keep you updated on how many rows we are going to be doing this for. So just double crochet your way to the other side and a few more rows.
So now we will be making the neck opening.
So I've done 6 rows of double crochet from when we stopped decreasing. So I think it was row 13 we stopped decreasing. 14, 15. So we've done 19 rows here. So I'm gonna chain 2, 1, 2, flip my work around and work a double crochet until the stitch marker. And I don't know if I mentioned, but it's 9 stitches from either end that we've marked off. So I'm just gonna take the stitch marker out, and then I'm gonna make a double crochet there. Actually, double crochet, and then I'm gonna chain 2, 1, 2, flip my work around and make another row of double crochet. Okay, so we've done 2 rows for the neckline. So I never really explained as to why we put the stitch markers here and here, because that is gonna give us a little neckline to work with. And now I'm just gonna cut off the yarn, make a slip stitch and fasten the yarn off, and then now we're gonna flip your work around, take your yarn, make a slip knot, take your stitch marker out, and we're just gonna do the exact same thing. We're gonna chain 2, 1, 2, and then work to the other end and back. So I'll meet you once we have done that. So I decided that I'm actually gonna do 3 rows of the neck for the neckline. So on this side, I'm just gonna have to do another row, which is easy. So yeah, we're gonna do 3 rows for the neckline. And we're just gonna double crochet our way back. So that's one shoulder sleeve thing done. And then to just start this one again, I'm gonna stick my needle in there, use this excess yarn to chain 2, and then wrap the yarn around, catch this new yarn, and then we just go for it. And now we are going to start with the back panel. So I'm just cutting the yarn off and fastening it there. Then I'm going to flip my work around, and I'm just going to make a slip knot, catch the slip knot, and we're going to repeat the same process. So we're going to chain 2, decrease into the first and second stitch, and then double crochet your way across to this stitch marker, and I'll meet you once we are there. Okay, so now we have crocheted 9 rows since we stopped decreasing. So in total we have 22 rows of crocheting. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our front and back panels and we are going to crochet them together. So I'm going to start by crocheting them from the top. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to flip my work around here and I'm just going to single crochet my work together like so. Then I'm just gonna cut the yarn off here, make a little knot. And then we'll weave that away at a later stage. And just catch it through the stitch. Hold my yarn to the left. Chain 1 and just single crochet in every stitch like we did previously.
So we're busy finishing off the top of the sweater vest, so by the shoulders, and then now we're just going to do the side of the sweater vest. So I'm just doing a little fast motion of how to do it. You just single crochet and we're going to crochet all the way down the side of the sweater vest, and I'll meet you once we have done that.
So now we are doing the ribbing, and this is the ribbing for the neckline. So I just want to explain what I did. I made a chain of 3 and then chain 2, flipped my work around and went back into that 3rd stitch. So with a half double crochet, and we're basically making the same ribbing as what we did for the bottom of our top, of the sweater vest. So we just half double crocheting into that back loop, and we should have 3 stitches that you're working with. So I'll meet you once I've finished the ribbing for the neckline. So for the ribbing on the neck, I did a total of 30 rows, and now we are going to start the ribbing for the arm sleeves. So you're going to be making 2 of these. So what we're going to do is we're going to chain 4. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, then chain 2, 1, 2, and then half double crochet in every stitch until the end. So you'll be working with 4 stitches. We chain 2, flip your work around, and half double crochet in every stitch, in the back loop of every stitch. And we will be making 34 rows for each ribbing of the arm for the arm sleeves. So yeah, so I just want to show you, I've sewn on one arm like ribbing, and we just need to now sew on the neck ribbing along like that, and then the arm ribbing. So I'm just going to show you how we're going to do the arm ribbing. I'm just going to fasten off here. The trick is to leave quite a bit of yarn so you don't have to then cut it and stuff. So I'm just going to thread the yarn through the needle.
So I'm just going to do a little fast forward of me threading the needle and then sewing the ribbing to the armhole, just because it's not even crocheting, it's just literally sewing your needle, like putting your needle through the gap and pulling it through the gap. It's pretty simple, and you'll do this for both sleeves. And yeah, so I'll meet you once I have crocheted all these, well, crocheted all the way around the arm.
Okay, so now we have sewn on all the ribbing, like on the arm and the neckline, both arms, you can see. So now we're just gonna cut off the yarn. You can sew it away, but I feel like there's not really a major need because mohair doesn't really untangle or like derail itself that easily. Like, or maybe for example here, for this sleeve here, I'll just crochet away each of these strands, just because I think it will make it look a bit neater. I'll just cut it there, and then I'll do the same for this one here, and then all these like little strands inside, like this one, I'll sew away. I'll like weave it into the seam. I'll give you a little 360 of the sweater vest on.
So here is the final product, a little 360, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Don't forget to like and subscribe.